Okay, welcome back, everybody. I am delightful to have this sangha, and I will start. First of all, how is everybody doing? I always ask my children class, how is everybody doing? Thumbs up or thumbs down? So I do the same to you. Up or down? Up, okay. All right, good. So I'll start today's class with a question for you all that I put in the chat. I want to ask you about what's your thinking about insecurity, vulnerability, and confidence. What is the acronym for non-confidence? I don't know that. Maybe some of you can help me. So what do you think about those quality that we human detest or dislike or really, don't want to show? What do people think about that? Yes, you Bao.
Dear Thầy, I think it's very natural for us to have the quality that you mentioned. Actually, um, before I enter Buddhism, the quality is quite strong. So I try really hard, either in life or in work or in career, in school. It's not so much for, sometimes it's not so much for the happiness of myself, but more the how the perceive of other people on me. So either could be the parent, could be your family. So I think the quality, I feel like it's very natural, develop when I go up. But actually, I eventually realized, though I actually bring a lot of suffering in practicing Buddhism, significantly helped me deal with, reduce the that type of negative thought or the importance of how other people view me or how other people think on me. Is more, it's more focused on how I view myself and what important to me. So yeah, that my experience.
Thank you. Anybody else? I'm not tricking you into anything, okay? It's just an honest question that I am also struggling with. Because, yeah. David?
There's Sangha. Yeah, I think it's that's what I want to also put in self-judgment and expectations, because when you have insecurity, vulnerability, or non-confidence, at least the insecurity and vulnerability is typically due to, like you about said, how you view yourself. And typically, a lot of times when we view ourselves, we're comparing ourselves to others and taking in the expectations that we either put on upon ourselves or the expectations that others put on us that we let influence us, right? So we have this self-image that we feel like we need to uphold in order to either make others happy, make yourself happy, fulfill your own expectations, or the expectations of the culture or society that you live in, right? Whereas I think as you practice more, I think the main idea is that to not let what other people think about you affect you, and not compare yourself to others, and really only compare yourself to yourself, and try to make baby steps every day to try to do the right things, practice wholeheartedly more, and I think the more that you do that, that self-confidence, begins to grow and you have less insecurities and less vulnerabilities as you have more, um, I guess, not sure what the right word is, but you just end up having more confidence or, yeah.
Right. Let me thank you. Let me narrow down this question a little bit more so we can go deeper into our wonderful world of internal universe. Um, we say a lot about our, you know, relation to other people. That is how we want to present ourselves to meet the expectations of others. And that is how we conjure an image for the sake of representation. And if it is accepted by others, then we feel secure. Maybe we feel confident. We feel, strong. And we try to present ourselves as someone who is, coherent, confident, and strong. Like we try so hard all the time to do that, right? Um, to a point that we don't even know who we are. We are just an image created by the thinking of society, of our context that includes environment, family, friends, and whatnot, right? So now let's get rid of those external conditions. Let's just think about our own mind. Okay. So the question now is then, what are you doing with those when they arise? Because I'm pretty sure that all of us here experience such moment where those so-called negative emotions arise in our mind, right? Let's just forget about the people, just focus on our mind right now. How do you perceive those so-called negative emotions now when they arise in you? Let's just, forget other people and their thinking, just us.
Yes, I understand, guys. I think this is self-confidence and self-esteem. It's pretty the same, and then it's formed when we were young, very young. So that's how we do. I think I'm born and raised in Vietnam. The way it's raised is very, very different than over here. Born and raised in 27 years before I moved to US. Anyway, I would kind of, it's not able to, to speak in, in group, in meetings, and it's for a while, when I get here, take time for me, to open. The environment is very important too. So it's encourage you to speak for yourself. But and you are right. It sometimes it's come up with the idea. Okay, try myself try to retreat. With the negative, but uh, I kind of sat back and think the problem things more clearly why it happened like that. I try to find the root cause of the feeling, and most of them is like not real. You know, it's I mean exaggerate the what it call exaggerate the problem, the issue, to make me that feel that that kind of negative, and eventually I don't have that feeling, for I can't remember the last time I could have that kind of feeling in confidence of of speaking of myself. But the experience is like try to look deeply more why I have that feeling. And I don't most time I try to catch a phantom. I uh don't see the real cause to make that kind of feelings. And a matter of fact, it's I learned it's not it's it's not about, the other, what they have, have it try to affect on you. It's not about, it's not about, me, myself, but it's, maybe for themselves. So I'm not really worried too much after all.
Right. Thank you. Chad, do I pronounce your name right? I'm
You
sorry.
do, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I think the Latin phrase is reductio ad absurdum. What I do is when these feelings arise in me, I let them happen. I follow them and I try to get to the point where I see that they are absurd. They're not real. So to say, yeah, I'm not Brad Pitt, right? I'm not attractive. I'm not rich. Brad Pitt must be the happiest person in the world, and you get to the point where you realize that's not true. It's all just self-image that you are trying to get rid of, and if you give it the weight that you would normally put into denying it, you usually get to a point where you find it's just not true. The feeling is baseless and is invisible.
Thank you. Bang Trâm.
Thầy and Sangha, I contemplate on insecurity as my basic needs are not met. So if I think of physical needs, like if it's not met, then I would feel very vulnerable. And when I think of this, when I think of some mental needs are not met, I would feel no confidence. So when our physical, emotional, physiological are not met, I would feel all of that insecure, vulnerable, and not confident. Yeah.
How about when they are met? Everything is met.
When they are met, my heart is full, so everything will be good.
Okay. Okay, nhiều bạn, thank you.
Dear thầy, dear friends, to me, if a negative feeling arises, if I can get to it early enough, acknowledge it early enough, then actually what I did is sit down and do nothing. Just observing it, then it's gone. And actually I can see that the negative feeling arise me toward a thing or a person is totally based on my ego. And if I realize that, then I have a way to calm it down. But the problem happening when the negative feeling arise so quick that I could not catch it early enough, then I already react. Then afterward would be a regret, and then apologize and feeling bad, and then get over with, and then hopefully next time do not repeat it again. But I think it's the part of practice that I see an improvement in the sense of how fast I can get to those feelings, how fast I can recognize those feelings. If I recognize them quick enough, then I can manage it so that I will go on quickly. But good luck if I get it too late. So, yep.
All right, thank you. Nguyên Thiện.
Dear Thầy and dear Sangha, that similar like Yaba mentioned, that I went through the period of time that I much calmer and practiced diligently with Siom Thich Tam Tien. So to me, that maintain mindfulness, allow when I have that good practice mindfulness, then I will be able to observe if there's these negative emotions comes up. Recently, I didn't practice not that well, so sometimes these emotions just went up, and I wasn't mindful enough, so not allow it to be intensity rise higher. Then sometimes reaction is not that good. So I know that you need to go back to mindfulness. Mindfulness can really take care of that. The other thing about the first question you mentioned about non-confidence, that one thing that we came here in this country, study, and then I remember the first job, all the first jobs is always had to make presentation and all the stuff like that. I have no confidence on myself to stand in front of a group of 30 people or senior management to do anything, right? I remember that my mentor, I need only one vote confidence from my mentor. He said that senior management needs to hear from you. If they know exactly the issue, then they would not hire you. That is really guide me pretty much all 35 years of my career. So anytime senior management asks you to make presentation because you are the expert, they are not expert. So that I think that mindfulness, also practice mindfulness, give me the confidence along the way. If anything, the confidence and the calmness is inside myself. And with confidence, what my mentor mentioned that normally non-confident is relating to the presentation to senior management. Okay,
All right, thank you. Tan.
Okay, dear Sangha, dear Thai. Sorry, I was in a whole nother world back then. But the concepts of insecurity, vulnerability, and self-confidence, self-esteem are still things that I am working on in myself, because just because people think that I'm self-confident in myself, I don't feel that way. So it's really hard, and I'm trying to work on that. And I'm at a point in my life right now where I'm there at like one point and then I just lose it. So the self-esteem is there, the self-confidence I'm kind of lacking on, and then the vulnerability I'm kind of lacking on, but work is in progress. So
All right, thank you, everyone. That's that there is certain degree of vulnerability in your sharing. I want what I want to get out of this sangha, of this relatively safe space, is that we wholeheartedly acknowledge those human emotions, right? Don't try to be always, be confident, strong, coherent. Why do we have to be like that when we are not? Or maybe the we are not is not also not real. The confidence is not real. Some people say, you fake it until you make it. That's one good strategy. But then I want us to really look closely at our own humanness of a person you believe who you are, with all these crazy but beautiful emotions, So there's something underneath those emotions. They are trying to tell you something about who you are. So if we know that, it is better to bring it up and investigate rather than suppress it down, right? Because it's there. They are there. If you try to suppress them, they will eventually come when you don't pay attention when you don't catch them soon, right? So be honest with those emotions and don't even try to seek like external conditions to, you know, I don't know, compensate for whatever is not there. And the lesson today is how do we start to build up from very small thing, from very tiny little thing, starting from inside. And that is our intention. Okay, Trung?
Yes, it's kind of very first time I hear what you say, but I guess I build up myself to be, like I said, I've been born and raised to, you know, in Vietnam, you know, it's right to raise to be the best. Like, there is a doctor or engineer or not nobody. It's that way I was raising anyway. Um,
Oh,
so
monk.
I built it, yeah. Or the monk now, a monk, yeah, you got it. Yes, is that right? So I at my work, so I will try to speed up myself, build myself with the, you know, more than normal, more people can do. It's at the same job title. It's I do try to do better. So I guess it's to build myself from you know, vulnerable you know, to others peoples, but and like you're right, it's that coming in short time, and then I suppress it, but it's too short. I mean, I guess it's too short to the part you know, I even aware of it. But if I guess from now I try to pay more attention to the emotions, I guess to take care of it. But I guess I build myself too thick to those I guess you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is not like don't be confident, okay?
Yeah.
I encourage you all to be confident. I encourage you to be strong, coherent. You know, those are good qualities, and they are worthy of, you know, being human, right? What I'm trying to say here also is that what if we still have those? We are confident, but we're still vulnerable. You know, we are strong, but we are weak. We are incoherent many times. And to me, I can give you one anecdote about me. So, when there was a time when I was invited to teach, I think it was an important event, right? And I had no idea what I was going to say. I had zero idea. And you know what I did? So I came up with a talk titled The Art of Not Knowing. So I teach from that not knowing because I had no idea what I'm going to teach, right? And from that humility, that acceptance of my shortcomings, there's something I can invite to come up. Now you see me speaking, you know, teaching the Diamond Sutra, all wonderful, but sometimes I don't know what I'm going to say to you, okay? Because the sutra evolves as we evolve. Remember that. The sutra is not a static book. It's not something that we keep in the bookshelf. It's not. It evolves as you evolve. And sometimes you don't evolve. Sometimes you just stuck. And the sutra stuck with you, and be with that. And that is where you meet the sutra. That is where you meet the teaching. Don't try to be somebody that you're not. You know, we all have to try to be somebody better than who we are, right? But sometimes acknowledging that, I'm not that good, I'm not that confident, so I'm just accepting that, and then I will work from there. That is real confidence to me. And many Buddhist practitioners, we all have one common symptom, which is passive aggressive. Passive aggressive is a kind of emotion that you're really angry, but you don't want to show it. You want to, show your beautiful smile, and you want to be calm, but deep down you try to express it, and you passive, and then you know act out on other people who don't deserve your anger. Have you ever had that experience? You try to be really calm in a situation, supposedly, you transform anger, right? But then you're just suppressing it, and then that is something that eating you up, and that is passive aggressive, and it never goes away. It will come up to the people who don't do anything to you. So if there's a saying that if you don't heal the wound, if you don't heal the wound, you will spread the blood on the people who don't cut you. That is passive aggressive. So sometimes, just acknowledge that, okay, these are some emotion that I have. That's fine. That's fine. Insecurity, yes, welcome. Vulnerability, yes. Non-confidence, okay. But if you are confident, that's good. If you're strong, that's perfect. That if you are coherent, that's great. So, Yuba?
Yes, they so relating to that point that you made, so we accept the negative emotion that we have, but should we also need to we accepting it, but should we also need to work on some way to transform it as well, right? Or we just accept it and okay with it?
What do we do? What are we doing here? I mean, what are we doing in in terms of learning and practicing? We yes, we accept, accepting your weaknesses is the highest step than ignoring them. So people often ignore them, suppress them, hide them. That is not what we're doing. We accepting is also a transformation process. And the first one is to acknowledge those feelings, emotions that arise in us. Joe?
Hey, I'm sorry to get so it to the part I think I'm to the part as you're not confident or not. The problem is like so I have like my work always have different issue all the time. It come to me is I interest in it. I know that I can't solve the problem in a minute or two. I'm not confident in that, but I know I like to solve the problem, right? I like to solve. Okay, I can find a way. I don't know if I can work out or not, or other people, they expect on me, and expect on me is a lot more than I confident myself actually. So they have more confidence. I'm sure that more confident than I'm actually confident in my job, my work. So I'm to the part. I'm to the part is like I'm interested in issue and problem and solving problem. I interested in it, and to the part I wish I can have more interest. I have interest like that, into into the sutra or Buddha's teachings. I'm serious. I mean, this is. I started to question myself like that, and you mean if I would kind of a little bit kind of suck in the thinking, logic thinkings, issue problem solving, thing like that, puzzle solving, thing like that. I mean, it's my mind is like more toward it, and it might I work like 9 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours. Sometimes I mean it's a lot. Sometimes I don't even stop for lunch. I keep going, but I slow down some. I do slow down some. I calm, but it's my mind. It's it's like the car keep thinking. It's so have I have no time or no I don't think I have time enough time to put myself in there, myself, my emotion, what my existence, you know.
So what I'm hearing you say is that you're confident in solving any work-related issue, right?
It's not really confident in it. I apply more like to do it, like feel
Mm-hmm.
good about to do things, even I don't even know if I can work it out or not. Like I said earlier, my college is more confident than I'm confident in myself. So but that I mean is I'm interested in it. I like to do it. I like to do things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Buddha teaching we not try to go with what you would try to like to do, and we go back to it, right? I absolutely I don't want it. That is like theory, right? But in the reality, I'm kind of more lean toward to what I like to do right now.
In terms of work,
Yeah. So
it,
it kind of forget about the self, right? And it's
you
very
like
contradicting to me.
meditating?
Yes, yeah, that's that too. It can get into my meditation too, because it's one in when it comes to solving problems, you always think a lot consequent, a lot of data input output, and you always try to you debug, right?
All right.
So it's hard on meditation too. You're right.
Okay. Hopefully today's lesson will help a little bit. Okay. Nguyên Thiện.
Yeah, Nam Mô Phật, thầy and dear Sangha, that I think back at the time when I was working, that I constantly got challenged, almost similar like your case, that I had to a short notice. I had to stand in to fly out to Dallas and make presentation on behalf of my boss. When she prepared all the presentation slide, I have no idea what she's talking about. So all I did that learn on the plane. But no doubt about it, during that time, I have a lot of vulnerability, right? I have fear, confidence, yeah, but still kind of lack of. So the way I do is with myself, I compartmentalize those negative feelings, block it out, okay? And then focus on the positive feeling, the opportunity to grow. When on short notice to stand in for your big boss, right? An opportunity to show that you can deliver. So perform it, and then later come back at the end of the day, or come back and meditate on all those feelings that I have compartmentalized earlier, and just figure out why did I have that type of feeling. At the end, I was doing okay. So analyze and observe what's going on in that. And those things that I happen all the time, almost all the time in my 35 years of working. I constantly do that. I know that you mentioned that we need to acknowledge that and to work on it. But in the working environment, we don't have opportunity to do that. So the way I do is compartmentalize, group of the negative thought, feeling away, focus on the positive and deliver it, and then later on meditate on it, analyze, observe it, and then move on, whether I can continue to work like that or quit job, do something else. So I just want to share that.
Thank you for that. And I would also challenge that later on. Remind me, okay. David?
Dear Thai, dear Sangha, yeah, I'm going to elaborate a little bit more on that, on what Minh Tien said on fear, because that's what I was thinking. Like, the question that I have is, where does insecurity come from, right? And where does this lack of self-confidence come from? Where does that fear come from? And in a lot of times, that fear or anxiety as well comes from, I think most of the time, or at least as I experience it, is from assuming the expectations of others, and worry, anxiety about failure, because we typically want to succeed, right? And we don't want to fail. However, why not? Right? Why do we put all of that pressure on ourselves to always be better, to always succeed? Why not accept failure, right? I mean, I think a lot of times in failure, that's when we learn the most, right? If we're always succeeding and never fail, I don't know. It just seems like it depends on your perception. It depends on what you place value on. And if all of those expectations are creating all this anxiety, then if why do we worry about what other people think about us? Because that's just an image that they have, and that's not who we really are anyway. So kind of interesting.
Thank you. Okay, Tan, and then we'll go to the sutra.
Okay, so dear Sangha, dear Thai, I'm gonna piggyback off of what David just said. I think there's two types of fear. So there's childhood fear, and then there's the adult fear. So if you didn't bring it through the adult life that you have now, then that's a different type of fear. So you have to go through that. You're not living the childhood fear that you once did. Well, as for me, I'm still living like whatever I'm living right now, fear, anxiety, vulnerability, whatever. So you have to like literally go a step ahead. I don't know if that solved your answer your question, David, but you know, it was worth a shot.
All right, thank you. Okay, so this goes really well into our next part, which is, so there are two trends of thoughts. In Western psychology, they always trace it back to our early childhood. But in Buddhist psychology, we trace to our perspective, right? So the perspective is what I am going to explore with you today, with a passage, with just one simple line. So the Buddha said, if there's someone who accepts this teaching and put them into practice, even if only one gatha or 4 lines, and remember, and explains them to someone else, okay, then there will be virtue and happiness. So you learn the sutra and then you practice. Not only that, you share with others, you teach others. Okay, so what is happening here? What is happening when we just one when you learn one thing, just one, a practice, a line from the sutra, some words from the sutra, and then you explain it to other people, help them learn and practice. So I'm thinking about the compounding effect. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the compounding effect. So the compounding effect is the process where small changes or actions build upon themselves over time, leading to increasingly, significant results. For example, if you learn a little bit each day, those small bits of knowledge add up, and over time, you become much more knowledgeable, right? That's what you do with your job. You do it every day, and that becomes your experience, and you become more confident in doing what you do best, right? So you learn one gatha of 4 lines, you practice, you share with that, with people. What's going on here? What does the Buddha say here? So when you learn, you need intention. Without intention, I don't think you would be here. When you practice, you need intention. When you share, you need intention too. So intention is the very first thought. The very first thought of doing anything. It starts with your mind, okay? Let me ask you, when you first heard about learning the Diamond Sutra, what was your first thought? Give me like 1 or 2 words. What was your first thought about learning this sutra?
Curious?
Curious?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody thought that it was impossible to learn? It's hard? Yeah?
Contradictory.
Contradictory. So from that first thought, it leads you here. It leads you here. Are you still having those thoughts, or those thoughts evolve into something else?
Evolve.
And if you started this sutra very committed when you first learn it, in the learning, you already have the commitment to practice, because you know that when you remember like how to master the mind, the first question is how to master the mind, right? What should we rely on? Remember the first question. The Buddha say nothing about mastering the mind. The Buddha said, you go liberate all without thinking that you liberate anybody. So that is how he said. He helped us set the intention for learning this sutra. You learn it with that intention. With that intention in mind, you practice it, and then you share with similar intention. That intention is the kind of the base, the foundation for whatever liberating work that you will do later, and definitely it will lead to that final work. Because when you have that intention, there's no burden to learn, to practice anymore. There's no obstacle, because you already have that, okay, I learned this to liberate, but don't think that I liberate anyone. I liberate myself, I liberate people, but I don't think that I liberate anybody. So with that intention, the burden is already put down. You bảo?
Yeah, dear Thầy, would you mind to clarify or actually elaborate on what intention that the Buddha wanted to learn this sutra? Would you say that the Buddha wanted to learn this sutra according to the intention that we liberate all the being, but do not think that we liberate anyone? But so how do we learn in terms of intention to learn this sutra? How we apply that?
So the Buddha didn't want to learn the sutra. The Buddha helps us to set a good intention when we learn this sutra. Or whoever invented this sutra wanted us to set a good intention, right? And that intention in the answer that the Buddha said, if you want to master your mind, then a real practitioner liberates everybody, all beings, but don't think that you liberate anyone. Okay, let's think about that for a little bit. Okay, so your mind, okay, your mind, our mind is a mess, right? Our mind is a mess. We want to master it. We want to like somehow, you know, control it or be friend with it or whatever you're trying to do with your meditation. The Buddha said, or the sutra states that liberate all. And don't think that you liberate anybody. Don't get attached to your work. You do it, but don't think that you'd have done anything. This is so strange for those of us who really crave for acknowledgement and, you know, certification and degree and stuff like that. Right? We want acknowledgement for what we have done. Give me certificate, give me acknowledgement, you know, say my name, stuff like that. So if we think like that, then our intention is already corrupt. Our intention is to just build up for this ego. And when the ego is involved, the work is so heavy. And some people say the word fatigue, compassion, or compassion fatigue or something like that. Compassion is never fatigue. Compassion is never corrupt. Our intention corrupts first, then whatever we do next will be a burden because we take more, we put more on our shoulder rather than let them down. How many of you think that the longer you meditate, the better? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I used to think that way, Thầy.
Okay.
I'm with you, Bao, on this
I
one.
used to, but I changed my
yeah.
mind.
So there
I think it's more important if you can get to concentrate. That's the quality. It's not to not sitting there for hours with all the, you know, all the thoughts and illusions.
But when you sit meditate with the aim to get to concentration, it's already not right at the beginning. Don't you think?
It's not the aim, you know. I always meditate with the beginner's mind. I mean, whatever it comes, it comes. But it seems to me that it takes at least sometime half hour, 45 minutes for me to get into a concentrated state of mind. Like sometimes I sit an hour, it's just constantly just follow my thought, observe my thoughts. So but to me, quality is how much time I'm in concentrated and ideally get into contemplation mode, but not just by the clock time.
Right. Let me blow your mind here. Are you ready? Okay. In spiritual practice, the process and the goal is one and the same thing. In spiritual practice, the process and the goal is one and the same thing. If you think that you have to get somewhere, then that's the first, the intention is already, you know, wrong. In our spiritual practice, the first intention, if you can carry that intention just for, if you generate that intention for like 3 seconds, and then you carry that intention your whole day, then your whole day will be your meditation. You don't have to sit quietly. But for all of us, right? For all of us, we are not able to carry that intention for whole day. So we need to like really situate that intention in us first, like imprint that in us first. It would take like 30 minutes, an hour, whatever. We need that time. But the length of time is not that important. That what's important is your intention. How long will you carry that intention with you? For example, you say, oh, today I will be mindful. That's your intention. And then you stand up, you go, do your thing. And then always in your mind, I will be mindful. Whatever you do, you're mindful of whatever you do. That is your meditation. That's not so, but many of us cannot do that. We'll forget immediately after we get up. You get up and, you know, leave our cushion, because we blame external conditions for disturbing our tranquil and peaceful mind, right? That's what we do. So again, intention, you know, is what we all need. We need for our spiritual practice, because we know that in spiritual practice, the process and the goal is one and the same thing. So intention is also called mental imprint. Mental imprint. And then how do we generate such mental imprint? You know, just say our meditation session is an opportunity for us to cultivate and nurture that mental imprint. Make it stronger, make it stick, make it more, make it like our reactive force. You can be reactive with your mental imprint, good mental imprint, with good intention. Okay. If you have that mental imprint strongly carved into your mind, then whatever you do, that will be the driving force. If you can remember a morning when you wake up after a sleepless night, and then I would bet that your intention that day wasn't good, and then you carrying that out with whoever is on your way, and then you make whatever people say very personal and just because of that first intention. Let me challenge you. Tomorrow, you would say, I'll be very compassionate today. And see how that takes you. Compassionate even toward your own ignorance, your own suffering, your own insecurity, your own vulnerability, and see where that will take you. That is the power of our intention. Again, return to that, the question, the answer that the Buddha said. When you liberate, when you do anything, don't think you have done that regarding, spirituality, spiritual practice. I know some people are very proud to say that, they have achieved certain kinds of calmness in their meditation. That's good. That's good for them. But, if if we are not mindful, what we are achieving is just what I would call a beautiful wrath around the ego, not real substance. Because we don't live in meditation, right? We live in the world. So the mental imprint, your intention, is what keeps your meditation going. It is what keeps your spiritual practice going. And, there are so many kinds of intention depending on what you do, what you want. It's small, but the power is enormous. It's like an acorn. It's very small, but it can give birth to an oak tree, right? Just like when you learn 4 lines in the sutra, you practice, you share with others, the happiness is enormous. But if if you meditate with an initial thought that, or an intention that, oh, meditation is so hard, I cannot control my thought, I cannot achieve anything after my meditation, then it is a problem for your meditation, Next time when you meditate, just meditate. And maybe you say, okay, this meditation, I'm going to be really mindful of whatever is going on. I will not judge. I will not be happy even, because if you're happy with your meditation and next time you cannot find that happiness, then you'll be mad at yourself for not having that beautiful, wonderful meditation. So now we return to those negative, so-called negative, okay? We need labels like that. People in this society need label like that to distinguish some positive thinking. And because of that labeling, then something to be like and something to be disliked. And everybody wants something that is to be like, and nobody wants something to be disliked. And then if you have that something to be disliked, then there's something wrong with you. And see, that's the problem. From the collective consciousness of this society. I don't know if we have talked about being normal, return to normal, as if normal is a place where everybody should be. And if you're not, then you have big problem, right? That's not true. That's not close to the truth. What if I'm not normal right now? You know, what if my mind is not in the place where you are and where you call normal? I still can appreciate that. It is teaching me something here. And I am intentionally mindful of that and see how, where it, you know, what will it teach me? Fortunately for us, we have our spiritual practice. We have some tools to explore those emotion. We are lucky to have the tools. For those people who don't have tool, they have drugs, they have, you know, all kinds of substances, but it's very down falling, right? So we have meditation, and we have our spiritual practice, and it is wonderful tool for us to explore, not detest, okay, explore our messy mind. Okay, Quang Trâm.
Yeah, Thầy. So we've been talking about the negative emotions, and we try not to hold on to negative emotions. But what if, because those are we don't like, what if we have positive emotions and we tend to use it and rely on them, so we still hold on to positive emotion? How can we not stay detached from that?
From negative emotions?
From positive.
Okay. Right now, I would suggest that we all need, you know, labeling positive and negative, right? So for the sake of this conventional world, because we are still living in it, having positive emotion is good. Having negative emotion is not bad. Why do we need to layer another kind of feeling onto that negative emotion? For example, when you come home and you see the home is messy, and then you clean the home, and then you hate that your home is messy, and then you clean it, and then you hate that, you know, why is nobody is cleaning the house? So is there two layer there? The layer that you come home with a messy house, and then the layer that you cleaning, and then you maybe try to blame someone, or try to interpret that thing with so many kinds of creative interpretation that you have in mind. Oh, they don't respect me, they don't love me, don't care for me, I'm tired, and they still leave the house messy. That's just one incident, that's just one example, right? Can you do it and just forget about it?
Yeah,
That's
right.
that's you helping yourself, not you helping anybody. That's you do it and then just forget about it. Why do we have to like just clean the house, and then, you know, in Vietnamese we call cam ram, lam nham, or, you know, just whatever, you know, just say, oh, why don't they do it, why I have to do it, you know? You Bob, you have the messy house or what?
Oh, not messy how, but a confusing thoughts. Um, so Earlier you said that, you know, this sutra, the Buddha want to learn this sutra with the intention that, okay, liberate all being, but do not think that there any being liberated, mean that no labeling, you let go everything, no labeling. And then now you said that negative feeling is not good, but positive maybe not bad to keep. So then what intention that I actually have to take from the sutra then?
I don't see that. I don't see that is mutually exclusive, because so when you have ultimately, okay, let's talk about conventional way first. Conventionally, you still have the work to do. You still have meditation to practice. You know, don't learn the sutra and then don't do anything. Okay, you still have a messy mind to master, right? That's what we do every day, I hope. But then ultimately, while you're doing that, don't think that you have done anything, because if you think, then you will be either happy or frustrated. Happy because you achieve, you get somewhere during one meditation session, and then you hold on to that feeling, happy feeling. But then if next time you don't get that feeling, you'll be frustrated. So that is the idea, right? And then now positive and negative feeling. Positive feeling, good. Everybody wants that, right? But it doesn't mean that negative feeling is bad. It just means that when we have our tool, spiritual tool, we can explore why, where, and why those feeling, and how, you know, how our mind, because they are parts of who we are right now. Those feeling, I cannot bring my negative feeling and I give it to you and then you have it, right? No, those are from you, conventionally speaking. Okay, those feeling that you have is you, is a part of you. And if you put another layer on that negative feeling, then it's worse. Like the messy house metaphor. Having a negative feeling is already bad, but putting or layering another emotion on it is worse. Arguing with your colleague is bad. Trying to interpret or trying to work it out in your mind, whether they like you or, you know, they hate you or whatever, that's another layer. That's not necessary. True?
Yeah, it's that idea of the when you see sigh, when you hear sound, it's the
Yeah,
deception. So
everything
it's
is linked. Yeah.
yeah, so it's I think that's the ideas of slowly take out the self, or non-selves or others, right? It's that process, right?
We are, yes, on the process of trying to see everything is interconnected.
Yes. Yep.
Positive, negative, self, others. We are learning and seeing that. So when we are able to see that, the return to this part where we learn, we practice, we share. If we are interconnected, then there's nothing to be learned, to be shared, and to be, you know, practiced, because it's just there. It's like, you know, it's already there. But we are on the process of, you know, still need learning, still need practice, still need to share. And if you, okay, one last thought, if you, when you learn, when you practice, and when you share, that if it feels like a burden to you, then you are approaching it wrong. That I can be certain. When you practice, When you share, if it's your burden, then it's wrong. Because you still think that you are the one who practice, you are the one who share the practice. So if you practice, if you share with ease, then that's something we are doing. And if it feel wrong now, then return to the intention, return to the first imprint, the mental imprint, your initial thought. At first, when I taught this class, it felt natural to me. And the more we go into this, you know, we change the format, we change a little bit, so it becomes more natural now. So it's no longer a burden to me, because now I'm not teaching you, you are teaching us. It's, you know, don't think that you have nothing to contribute. Each of your sharing is a contribution in the teaching, and we go as a river. Okay, wonderful or not?
It's wonderful, Thầy. Thank you.
It's
I hope
great.
you enjoy it like I do. So all right, thank you everybody for your time and energy to be here with us. Yeah, you Bao, can you share the dedication of merit? And I'd like to invite Chị Trang to read it.
Sentient beings are numberless. I vow to save them. Desires are inexhaustible. I vow to put an end to them. The dharmas are boundless. I vow to master them. The Buddha way is unattainable. I vow to attain it.
I think now Trang and Chat is now interconnected already. So there's no separation between them, because when I call Trang, Chat reads. So, you know, that's the spirit of the sutra.
I about to say the exactly same thing, Thầy. Look like they are one.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Okay,
And
can
have
you
a great
Thank you,
night.
everyone.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Thầy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Happy.
Thank
Thank you.
you, everyone.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night. Great talk.